One.
Hi, Maria Sevilla with Sevilla Bodyworks. So we're going to do something a little bit different today. I have some clients that have reformers at home and they've requested that I do a reformer video. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to do just a basic supine reformer routine for about 20 minutes, and I'm trying to do minimal spring changes here so that you can keep the flow going. So the way I like to teach is to really try to remain in flow, try to keep that stamina going. So we're going to get started. I have 3 red springs on. This is a balanced body reformer. This is for footwork. We're going to start with footwork. So medium to medium heavy springs are great. I'm not going to do a spring change because I'm going to go straight into single leg work. So be mindful of that. Maybe not starting too heavy, but just keeping it at a good spring so that you're ready to move to a single leg without too much tension. All right, so I'll get started. I'm gonna lie down. So I have the foot bar at a low position for me because when I come and lie down, I wanna make sure I have almost a 90-degree angle. I'm starting with my heels on, but then I'm gonna move to my toes so you can see I need to be at that 90-degree angle. You could peg it out, but I'll just put it low. So I'm gonna start with feet on the bar, heels, pockets on, and I'm sits bone distance apart. I'm just gonna lengthen all the way out and then exhale and come in. So some of the things that I teach when I am doing footwork is to try to be mindful of the weight distribution of the legs. So I don't wanna push so hard into the feet that I feel a lot of pressure into the shoulder rests. Rather, I want to push through the feet and pull with the thighs. I also don't want to crash the carriage home so that I'm resisting the return of the springs. It's really easy to get into a pattern where you're just always pushing. So remember, you want to feel the work in both directions. So I'm going to do 3 more. And 2. And 1. And then I'm gonna come midway and hold. So I like to call this like a wall sit. Everybody's done a wall sit before, so they kind of know what that feels like. So my back is straight, I'm in neutral spine. I'm pushing through my feet, I'm pulling up with my thighs. I'm feeling some heat building in my legs. It's a 45-degree angle from the knee to the hips. And just like a wall sit, you start to feel your quads burn a little bit. And then once I start to feel them burning, I'm just gonna pulse real quickly for about 10. And this is a 1 to 2 inch pulse. This really works those fast twitch muscle fibers, so that's why we like to do it. And plus it just burns the legs a little bit more, so it's a nice warm up. And then I'm gonna just lengthen all the way out again, trying to lengthen the leg, equal distribution, and then slowly traveling back in. I'm gonna switch my foot position to my toes, so I'm gonna go to the balls of the feet. I'm gonna press all the way out. My toes are just gonna come up and over on top of the bar. And then I'm just gonna start with a little bit of calf work here. So I tend to lock out my knees sometimes, so I really have to be mindful of keeping the kneecap soft and pulling up through the thighs and then down through the feet so that I get that opposition from the knee and protecting that knee joint so I'm not locking out. There's a little warm up for the calves. I've done about 10. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to lift the heels up just a little bit. I'm going to bend the knees in, come all the way in, pull the heels down and press out. So this is just kind of a little circle with the heels while I am doing my footwork. I like this because it really helps to warm up the calves while I'm doing the legs. The other thing I really enjoy doing in my classes is multitasking. So the more muscles I can get working, the better. I'm just gonna do 2 more here, and then I'm gonna reverse that circle. You see how I'm keeping my heels up as I return in, and then I'm going to up as I go out, pull them under and come in. Again, being mindful of the legs and the knees, and I'm definitely feeling the work in the calves and the legs. I'll do 2 more here. There's so many amazing footwork variations. It really is quite endless. So this is just 1. And then I'm gonna come midway in. So I lifted my heels back up. I'm gonna come midway into that position, holding the heels, feeling the legs get a little bit of burning. And then I'll just pulse again for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then lengthen all the way out. Now get ready because we're going to come back into that midway position again. So here we are, holding, and then I'm just going to lift and lower the heels. So when I'm doing this, I'm lifting the lower heels without moving the carriage. So I'm working my calves, feeling the burn in my quads, which is lovely. Okay, and I'll do one more. I'm going to lengthen out again. So lengthening out, just releases that tension through the quads, and I'm going to come back to that midway position for a third time, and then I'm going to do something called a prance pulse. So I'm going to prance, bringing one heel under, the other heel up, and then I'm pulsing in and out, and I'm going to speed it up a little bit here, and this is really nice. So I'm getting the work through the calves and the quads. Nice multitasking here. 3, 2, and 1. Bring both heels up, press out. Bring the heels under to finish the stretch and release. Try not to lock out those knees. And then gently bring the carriage all the way home. So remember I said we're going to move into that single leg work. So I'm going to come back onto my heel pockets. I'm going to bring my left leg to a tabletop position. So tabletop is when the knee is right above the hip and the lower leg is straight out from the knee. So it looks like a table. I'm going to push out and in with that single leg. So the one wonderful thing about doing single leg work is you get to really, if you have, maybe an injury on one side or you're just imbalanced, this helps to really work unilaterally through that leg. So I'm just going to do, a couple more here. I didn't change the spring load. And then I'm going to start to travel with the opposite leg. So I'm going to kick it forward and then bring it in. And my goal here is, as I'm doing this, is to try to keep my pelvis level. So this is also a wonderful pelvic stability exercise. And then after I've done a few of those, I'm just going to kick it up. So this kind of works the principles of not only flow in Pilates, but also coordination and control. So we're always trying to integrate those principles into our workout. And then I'm going to pause at the top. So I'm going to flex my foot at the top. I don't know if you noticed I was pointing and flexing. I'm going to flex my foot at the top. I'm going to push through my right leg, and I'm going to reach my left foot towards the ceiling. I'm thinking about making a footprint on the ceiling. Hopefully that balances my pelvis a little bit more. And then I'm going to do gentle circles in the hip. And I want to keep thinking about reaching up as I'm doing these circles. And then I'm going to reverse the circle, so I'm also feeling the leg burning through the quad. I feel my low abs. 3, 2, 1. Now here's the goal. As I come down, I want to see that I have even feet. Did I do it? Oh, I did it. And then gently come back in. So other leg to tabletop, same series. So I'm on the heel pocket. So the heel pocket is the base of support of the foot. So that's a little bit, that's in forward of the heel bone. So you want to make sure you're in that little notch. And then I'm going to do a couple more of these. And then I'm going to travel with this leg. So I'm going to go forward and in. So I'm not bringing it too much past 90. So that's also controlling that flexion through the knee and the hip. And then I'm going to lengthen up. So I'll flex as I come up. Might as well multitask, get that stretch through the hamstring. Point as I go down, squeezing the glute as I come down. So I'm getting that work through the leg. And then trying to keep my pelvis level. So I really need to push up as I swing that leg up. And then I'll do 2 more, definitely feeling the work in my low abs. Last one, I'm going to hold it here. Really reach that foot to the ceiling, push down through the opposite leg and circle. Controlling through the low abs. You can also make a quick stop, circle stop, circle stop, so that will make it, intensify it through the hips. Or you can just flow. Last one, and then come all the way down. Let's see if we're even. That side was a little bit harder, and then gently come all the way back in. So we've worked parallel quite a bit here. I'm just gonna open now. Last little footwork exercise, just gonna go wide on the arches because we haven't worked on our arches yet. And then I'm gonna just press out in. I'm gonna think about opening my knees as wide as my shoulders. And again, like I said, there's lots of different variations of footwork. So you could, I don't know, you could spend easily half an hour doing footwork, but I like to just get the legs warmed, do some variety, and then move on. So a few more here. And then again, we'll stop midway for some pulses. So midway again, keeping that carriage still, holding first, 45-degree angle, and then I'm gonna pulse it out. So just to make it a little bit different again here, I'm gonna pulse it out with the legs going in and out. And then I'm gonna pause, and I'm just gonna do little butterflies here. Yeah, so working the outer thighs a little bit, still holding the carriage still. And 4, 3, 2, 1. And then lengthen all the way out if that felt good. And then gently come in. And then bring those legs in. So I'm gonna roll over to my side. This is my first spring change. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go down to a red and a blue. So this is a medium to medium light. We're gonna go into some pelvic curls. So the whole goal is to keep the carriage from moving. So the lighter you go, the harder it is, the heavier you go, the easier it will be. So keep that in mind. I'm gonna lie back down. And I'm gonna put my feet back into that heel pocket position on the bar. I'm just gonna lift my head up, get my hair out of the way, and pull the headrest down. So I want a flat headrest because my hips are gonna come up and I don't wanna put that strain in my neck. So I'm going to start with just a little pelvic curls. This is our first movement into our spine and our low back. So I always like to start with a little kind of tuck and arch, especially after doing footwork, because we maintained neutral throughout that whole series. So with a little tuck and arch, you're just kind of warming up that low back. The other thing is to start to bring on the low belly. So when I curl to this position, I want to think about drawing my belly into my spine. Okay, one of the things that's really important when you're doing this is not to overuse the hamstrings to tuck the tail. I want to really initiate that movement from my low belly. I'm pulling my low belly in and upward, moving from the low back. So trying not to target the hamstrings right away, but really feeling that movement through the pelvis and then coming back down. Okay, so once we've established some good rocking through the tailbone, I'm gonna go ahead and take it the rest of the way up. So I'm gonna tuck my tailbone, pull my belly in, and then slowly roll up. So this is my first one of the day, really seriously it is. So I feel like it's gonna be a little sticky. And then gently come down. I always say that to people. I'm like, that first pelvic curl or the first roll up, you know, you're just starting to move that spine. Cannot just be as graceful as you want it to be. So, you know, take your time. This is part of the reason why we do these. And then exhale, curling up. It's already feeling a little bit better. So I'm curling up. You can see I'm keeping the carriage home. And I'm really trying to think about moving my spine. My hamstrings are definitely on, but I'm initiating that movement here first. And then as I come up, I have to bring more of my legs into the fold. Now, as I get up here and I'm up to this high position, I always tell people this is more like a ramp, not a yogi bridge. So knees are higher than hips. Hips are higher than your ASIS bones right here, top of the pelvis. This is higher than my rib cage, et cetera, et cetera. So I look more like I'm in a ramp. And I'm going to hold it there, and your guys are probably going, yes, it's burning a little bit, keeping the carriage home, and then gently coming all the way down. So quite a bit of burning through the back of the legs, which is amazing. And so we're going to do that again and coming all the way up. And here we go. So a couple things that we can do here. There's a ton of different things you can do in this side position. We can go in and out for small ones. Now remember, the harder part is pulling the carriage home, because it's less use of the spring, more use of your body. So the further I go out, the easier it is. I don't want to spring back. I really want to control it in. I'm going to do 2 more of these. And then if you're not cramping yet or dying, you can pull it in, hold it there. Let's do 10 glute squeezes to the top. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1, and then gently curl it all the way down. And then once you come down, you're like, oh, my hamstrings. So I'm just gonna lengthen that leg up and then maybe just pull it in and just do a little release here. And then down, and then let's do the other side. Ooh. And then pulling it in. Okay, so we're gonna move on. I do have a red and a blue, which is a little heavy for this next series, but I'm just gonna go for it because I've been practicing doing a little bit heavier with the arm work, the supine arm work. For anyone at home, you might wanna drop a spring. If you have any shoulder issues at all, definitely drop a spring. If you feel pretty strong, you can stay with the same spring mode. Like I said, I like to do little changes so that I can stay in flow. I'm gonna bring my legs to tabletop, and I'm just gonna take my arms all the way down to the hips and back up. So again, be mindful of how your body is feeling so that you're not overworking. And you know, it just depends on the day. I mean, sometimes I feel really strong and I can feel I can go heavier, and other days definitely not. So I'm just bringing my arms down and up. I'm in my neutral position. I'm warming up my upper abdominals, believe it or not, by doing this. I think I took the headrest back up. So then the next time I'm just gonna go through the series of the arms without lifting the head first to warm up the shoulders. And who knows, I might go down in the spring. So now I'm taking my hands out to the side. And if you can see, I don't have my arms touching the carriage. They're floating a little bit above because my goal is to work in my the best alignment so that I'm not having my hands back here. I'm up forward because anatomically the arms are going to come a little bit forward of the hips when I close the hands. And then I'm going to move into my little circle. And my goal when I'm doing this is to kind of like rib cage arms, is just to keep the spine still and move independently through the shoulders. I'll reverse the circle. This is actually going to feel a little bit easier going down and open. Then the other direction, I started with the harder direction. And then I'm going to go ahead and pause. So I'm going to pause. I'm going to bring my hands up just a little bit more and establish a really good T-point. I'm going to make sure my belly is pulled in. And then I'm going to exhale. I'm going to pull down, and as I pull down, I'm going to lift my head, neck, and chest up. And then gently come back down. So I want to keep some tension on the springs. You can definitely take it up a little bit higher, but I'm feeling today that this is the best work for me, is to stay in the work and then coming back down. And then gently lifting up and coming back down. And last one, gently lifting up and then coming back down. Let's take the hands out to the side and do the same thing. So I'm going to pull in just a little bit closer than maybe out all the way to a T. And then as I bring my hands to the hips, I'm going to reach and lift and then come back down, controlling. Exhale, reach and lift, and then come back down, controlling. So I'm not letting the straps control me. Last one. Exhale, curling up. I'm going to hold it here. I'm going to add some leg work. So I'm just going to do some single leg stretch, reaching through my palms. Take my hands up a little bit higher just to get a little bit more work through my abdominals. 3, 2, and 1, and then gently come in. So if you did go a little lighter with that, you could probably do a little bit more there, but I was heavy, so I stayed nice and slow and controlled. So because I'm staying on the same spring, I don't have to get up and change, and I'm going to just put my feet right into the straps. So I'm still at the blue and red, and I'm going to take my legs up, all the way up, keep my tailbone nice and heavy. Now I'm back in neutral spine. I'm going to open my legs out to the side. This is my first abduction of my legs, so I'm going to just luxuriate there for a little bit and feel that stretch. and then gently come back, controlling the carriage as I open and close. So this is just I'm just being mindful of moving from my hips. I don't want to feel the carriage moving very much when I'm doing the open close. I'm keeping the tension on the ropes and being cautious about not hyperextending my knee, hopefully. And then I'm just gonna do one more and then come back up. So now we're gonna go down and up. So as I go down, I wanna work at the base of my thighs. So right around where my hamstrings meet my glutes, I'm pulling down and then gently coming back up. So similar to footwork, you don't wanna let the springs control you. You wanna be in control of the springs. I always like to think of them as being an extension of my body, rather than me working against them, how I can incorporate that tension, integrate it into my body. I'm staying in neutral. And then I'm going to kind of complete this move by opening and then completing my circle. And then going down, bringing my legs together and coming up. And opening and down and together and coming up. So kind of the things that I've always found when people love to do legs and straps, is that they kind of just let the straps dictate where they're going rather than thinking about drawing. So I'm really thinking about drawing this perfect circle with my legs. And then I'm going to do one more this direction. I'm noticing a little bit more tension on the right side, but it's a little bit too late now to get up and change the strap, so I'm just going to do my best. All right, so you see I'm kind of going slow, and the reason why I'm going, nice and slow is because I want to control. Right here, it's really easy to just let go, and I really want to control from my hips. I'm going to do one more this direction. And then I'm going to do some different fun things with the hips. So I'm going to take my legs open nice into a V, turn my toes out, and I'm going to do a V pull. So I'm going to come down into a V and then straight back up and down into a V and straight back up. This feels great on the hips. So hip work, synovial fluid, lotion is motion. And then I'm going to reverse that, so the toes are going to go in at the top, and then I'm going to go down in an upside down V. So I'm working external rotation, then I'm working internal rotation. I've done my circles, I've done my flexion extension. So I'm making sure that I am utilizing my joint in all positions. And then the last one I'm going to do, I'm going to come all the way back up and come back to a parallel position. I'm going to gently move halfway down. I'm going to turn my heels in, my toes out, and I'm going to move into my frogs. So keep those heels connected as you go in and out. This is harder than it looks when people first start working in straps. Their feet, it's hard to keep that connection. So I think about the heels staying glued together and then drawing and zipping up through my core as well. And then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to come parallel now, do the same thing, let the straps rise above the shins. So I'm kind of coming in and out. Does this remind you of footwork a little bit? It does remind me of footwork. So now my legs are my straps. And then I'm going to press out and I'm going to do a little internal rotation. Knees might touch together, and then I'm going to push diagonally out. So again, I'm doing all positions. This one always feels a little bit awkward. It doesn't look as pretty as the other one, but still important. Two more. And then gently come all the way out, bring it back parallel. Bring those legs up. And then I'm going to take myself out of the straps. So that'll be part 1 of the Reformer Supine series. Tune in for part 2. I'm going to be doing maybe some sideline or some forward facing with the foot bar. And then we'll continue with this workout and pull everything together to complete 1 hour. Okay? See you soon.